Good afternoon, children. Today we are going to learn the poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. Okay, it's a poem written by Stephen Spender, who was a pacifist and socialist. And this poem is concentrated on the themes of social injustice and class inequalities. Okay, children, so from the title itself, we will understand that the setting of the poem is an elementary school classroom in a slum. An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum by Stephen Spender picturizes a classroom in a slum, highlighting the plight of the children and the themes of social injustice and inequalities. The tone of the poem is philosophical and somber. The theme revolves around the profound problems that affect our society at large. The universal gap between the rich and the poor is highlighted. The poem deals with themes of poverty and alienation among children living in a slum. The poet wants the life of slum children to be changed. He wants their poverty to end. He wishes them to live a life in healthier, hygienic and beautiful environment. He wants their future to be bright and hopeful. So it is with a very positive purpose that Stephen Spender has written this poem. Let's look on the poem. Far from the gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor, the tall girl with her way down head, the paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes, the standard unlucky hair of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. So the poet says that this elementary school classroom in a slum is very far from the gusty waves, from the waves which are blowing so strongly. And the children's faces are like rootless weeds. What do you mean by rootless? Uprooted, unwanted weeds. The children's faces are referred to rootless weeds. The hair torn round their pallor. And what happened to the hair? It is scattered around their pale faces. And the tall girl with her weighed down head. Why the tall girl's head is weighed down? Because she is depressed of her poverty and out of shame her head is weighed down. The paper-seeming boy. Why the boy is called paper-seeming? Because he is looking lean and thin. With rat's eyes. Why the eyes of the boy is like a rat's eyes? Because he is so greed. Okay, he is having a greed of living a very nourished life. The standard, unlucky hair of twisted bones. Actually, he is an underdeveloped child. He is a malnourished, underdeveloped child. And he is so unlucky. Why? Because he has inherited a bone problem, a bended bones. Reciting a father's gnarled disease. Okay. Actually, he inherited this from his father. And this is a disease that was affected by his father because of his rough hard work. His lesson from his desk. So what is the paper-seeming boy doing? Yes, the boy was learning his lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game, in true room other than this. And in the same class, the poet is introducing us to another boy. Okay, and it's a dim class. What do you mean by dim class, children? It's not a clearly lighted up class. And there was a boy who was very unnoted, but he was sweet and young, and his eyes lives in a dream. What is his dream? Of a squirrel's game. Actually, he don't want to sit in this classroom and all. He wants to go out and play with the squirrel in a tree room. On sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome, riding all cities, belled flowery, Tarolis Valley. And we can have an account of the things that you can see in that classroom. Actually, the walls of the classroom was sour, very unpleasant, and it was very much creamish in color. And it was decorated with things given as gifts, as donations. And it included Shakespeare's head. There was a picture in the classroom that was showing the Shakespeare's head. And it as Shakespeare's head is bald, it is compared to the cloudless dawn, the early morning sky, okay. And civilized dome, actually civilized dome refers to the institutions of the civilized world. Riding all the cities, okay, it was shining on all cities. And belled flowery, Tyrolis Valley, and there was a picture of the Tyrolis Valley. Okay, actually it's a valley in Tyrol in Austria, okay. So what are the things that was decorated in the class? There was a picture showing Shakespeare, and it was, the head was very bright like early morning sky, and there was a picture of the institutions of the civilized world, and there was the picture of a valley in Tyrol, Tyrolis Valley, and you can see a lot of flowers, belled flowers picture and all there. Open-handed map, awarding the world its world, and yet for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, where all their future is painted with a fog. And there was also a map of the world, which was drawn, was depicted in the wall. And it was hanging over there, but according to the children, the map of the world is not at all important. For them, their world is what they see out of the windows of their classroom. And in a slum, it is very dirty. Their actual world is so dirty. And their world is not depicted in the map of the rich, civilized people. Their future is painted with a fog. What do you mean by painted with a fog? It is uncertain. Their future is a big question mark. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. Far, far from rivers, caves and stars of words. So the poet further says that their world is closed in a narrow street, where the sky is bluish gray in color. Why the sky is bluish gray color there? Because of the pollution. And their street is far, far from the rivers, from the caves and stars of the world. Okay, from all the beautiful things, their street is far away. What do you mean by caves? It's a part of highland sticking out into the sea. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, and map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal, for lives that slyly turn in their crammed holes, from fog to endless night. Now the poet further says that definitely Shakespeare is a wicked man for them. He is not a good man, and the map will be a bad example for them, because they are very much tempted to steal, because they are fascinated by the ship, sun and love. There is nobody to love them. There is nobody to give them prosperity and richness. And for them, the slum people, they are living a very secret life in the narrow holes, and they are having a uncertain future which begins from fog to endless night. Their future begins from fog, from uncertainty to endless night meet darkness. So their future is utter darkness. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel, with mented glass like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with slums as big as do. So what they do is that waste materials, okay, on the waste materials, these children, you can see that they are living around the waste material on the heap of waste things. So you can see that their skins, in their skins, you can see the bones protruded out. Okay, they are so skinny out of poverty, they are not having enough to eat. So their skins are having protruded, emerging bones, which is projecting outside. And the spectacles that they wear are made of mented glass, and it is made of bottle bits of stones. Okay, why? Because they can't afford to buy a good glass, so they are wearing the spectacles are made of steel, glass and bottle bits on stones. And all of their time and space are foggy slum. So everything about them is very much uncertain. So blot their maps with slums as big as do. So the poet is asking us to mark the place in that map, to mark the slum places in that map with black spots, so that they will understand that they are having a very hellish life. Okay, while the civilized world is having a very heavenly life, the slum is a living hell for them. So the poet is asking them to mark the slum in the map with a black spot. Now the poet is calling for an action from the administrators and officials for the betterment of the life of the slum children. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields and make their world run ashore on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green leaves open. History theirs, whose language is the sun. So what the poet is saying, children? Yes, unless the governor, inspector, and all the people who visit these places, they should do something for them. And they should make the map of the world a reality for these children. Unless and until this little school in a slum is getting all the necessities and all, then only they can virtualize the map of the world. For the children of that little school in a slum, the windows, the environment around them, the slummish environment is blocking their progress. It is shutting up their lives, and they are experiencing as people who are in the graveyard, okay? As a dead body is shuttered up in the catacombs, in the underground graves, the lives of these children in the slum area is blocked up. The slum environment is blocking the progress of these children. And the poet is asking to break open all the barriers which is preventing the slum children from progressing. And he wants the children to enjoy the beauty of the world, to enjoy the green fields, to enjoy the blue sky, and to run on the golden sands. And he wants their tongues to express freely. And he wants them to read books of wisdom. And the white and green leaves, actually the white leaves refers to books and the green leaves refers to fields. Actually he wants them to learn from the books and nature. And he finally remarks that history is theirs, whose language is the sun. So these children will definitely make a history if they are given power and warmth like the sun. Okay children, let's recollect what we learned in this poem. An elementary school classroom in a slum deals with the social injustice and class inequalities and attacks on the capitalistic economies in which the rich are becoming richer, and even as more and more problems and miseries mar the lives of the poor, they are devoid of any opportunity and have become prey to social injustice. In this poem, Spender demands equal opportunities for education for the poor and the underprivileged. The poem starts with a detailed description of the pathetic condition of the children who study in a school located in a slum. These children are malnourished and sick. The poet compares them with rootless weeds. It seems as if their physical and mental growth had stopped. They have no exposure to the real world. These children are unkempt, hungry, weak, and emaciated. They are bony and carry the legacy of poverty and diseases. They are living in an environment of utter hopelessness. They are given a glimpse of the outside world through the pictures hanging on their classroom walls. These seem to be totally meaningless to them. The map on the wall proclaims a world which is vast and limitless. But the world of these children is limited to the slum. The pictures of Shakespeare, valleys, buildings, domes, etc. have no meaning for these slum children. All these are out of context for them. In the last stanza, the poet urges the stakeholders, that is inspectors, visitors and governors, to realize their moral responsibility to these children. They must do something to unshackle these children from the bond of poverty and ensure them equal rights and opportunities. They should get good education and become a part of the real world, where they should be entitled to social equality. Thank you.